Well, this week it was rhythm and blues and soul for American Idol. That's not what the Dish Network blurb said. When you hit the guide, it says, starring Ellen DeGeneres and some other people. That cracks me up. Okay, first off was Siobhan. She did Through the Fire by Chaka Khan. I was not happy with this performance. Her pitches, I thought it was Katie singing. She was so out of tune. I noticed that when her mouth is open real wide, she seems to hit the notes better. It's when she's not belting that she misses the pitches. This was probably the worst performance of the night, but she won't go home because she's got a big fan base. I think she should at least be in the bottom three, though. But as far as I'm concerned, it was the worst performance of the night. Up next was Casey doing Hold On, I'm Coming. You notice he's always smiling while he's singing. It just, that smile just never leaves. And a lot of background that his voice was not able to overcome that well. He was okay, but you can hear this kind of performance in any bar in any town. You know, he's a very confident singer, and he has a good voice, but by hiding behind the guitar, you know, he says he plans to keep his guitar for all the performances because that's what he does. But it's not really what the Idol performances are supposed to be about. It's supposed to be about vocals. His guitar is unparalleled, but the vocals are just okay. That's it. Next up was Michael with Ready for Love. Did this sound R&B to you? It really didn't sound very R&B to me. He had nice vocals. I liked the idea that he sat behind the judges, didn't have to look at them. I'm sure I would hate looking at the judges when I'm performing. It was a pretty intimate little performance, and his vocals are nice, as always. I noticed though when they showed the little clips at the end of each one that it didn't quite sound in tune, whereas I didn't notice that while the performance was going on. And maybe it's just something about his personality that makes me forget that his singing is not quite on pitch. But I'm sure he's safe. Then Didi came out and did What Becomes of the Brokenhearted. Now I love this song, I really do. But she took it way too serious. You know, I was wondering if maybe she had somebody who was brokenhearted that killed themselves. You know, this is total speculation. Please don't start rumors from what I'm saying. But maybe that's why she was so emotional. I noticed that the chorus has a little bit of a key change from the verses. And just as she was leading into that, she lost the pitch a little bit. Another thing she does is these swoops, where she hits a note and kind of swoops up. I don't think that sounds too good. All in all, this was not a good performance for her. You know, I loved the way she did Play with Fire a couple of weeks ago, but this one just didn't do it for me. Tim did Sweet Love. He's definitely the vote for the worst little darling. I don't know if they quite picked the worst, because he is likable. You know, that's the thing about him. He's just so likable. The performance was kind of a bland karaoke. But I do think that this was probably his best performance yet, even though I didn't feel any connection. I didn't last week with Crazy Little Thing Called Love. I like the sound of his low notes. He's got a good beefy sound to his low notes. When he makes the transition from the low to the high, it's uneasy. It's not a smooth transition going into his high notes. And his high notes are just bland. There's nothing there. I think if he focused more on those low notes, he's got a more of a unique sound down there. It could easily be the last week for him, though. He'll be in the bottom 3 again, and he may be going home. I'd vote for the worst, and I might not be able to save him. Andrew Garcia did Forever by Chris Brown. This was an incredible improvement for him. This was back to the stuff that he should be doing. His voice is still just a little bit, I don't know, like it's turned up just a little bit on the speed to give it a, just not a real manly voice. It's kind of a, I don't know, chipmunky leaning towards there. I think Usher gave him some good advice, and I think he took it to heart. He did seem to connect with the audience better than ever. I don't think it's going to save him from the bottom 3, but it may save him from going home. Katie did Chain of Fools. Now, this is the first time she hasn't done something sappy. And she held the pitches better. It's that sappiness. Simon says he thinks she should be country. I think he's way wrong there. If she goes into country, she might be able to sell records, but she's not going to be able to make anything good. She's going to sound bad, like a lot of the people you hear on country radio these days. I think she should belong in the bottom 3 also, but her or Siobhan. But I don't think she's going home this week because that was her best performance yet. Lee came out and started the show with Treat Her Like a Lady. You know, this is where it finally got going. For him and Crystal, we had 2 really excellent performances. I noticed that he didn't pay that much attention to the melody. He had the first part of the verse, he'd be on the melody, and then he'd take it up so he could rock out and belt it, and he did a good job. I noticed some of the notes, like especially that last note, when he hit it, he moved away from the microphone too soon, that the note was gone sooner than it should have been. And it's just because he moved away from the microphone. He shouldn't be putting the picks in his mouth either on stage. That's kind of tacky. Okay, Crystal came out and sat at the piano and did Midnight Train to Georgia. I was glad that she got up from the piano too, because, you know, you need to see her move around a little bit. She acted pretty stiff at moving around. But what a smooth vocal. I mean, that's what Gladys Knight was known for, at least in my book, as just having one of the smoothest voices, effortless sounding voice. And Crystal, although her voice is nothing like Gladys's, has that same quality. It just sounds so effortless when she does a song. I think it was Simon that said she shouldn't have the backup vocalists on it. Boy, I agree there. You know, you don't need, just because the Pips, you know, were behind Gladys, you don't need those lines. They were just dressing. Gladys Knight was the show. Crystal should have just made herself the whole show tonight, because she's so good. Aaron came out and did Ain't No Sunshine. I remember Chris Brown doing this last year, and it was just riveting. This one was not. I thought in the little bit with Usher beforehand, he actually did better than he did on stage. It could have been because of the nervousness, and it could have been just because he felt something when Usher pushed him there, that he wasn't able to get back to that point. Yeah, it was an okay performance, and I don't think he's going home. This isn't his style. I'll see you next week.